Hello and welcome to something very different from my usual Football Manager content. We're taking an experiment idea, mixing it in with the non-league to legend idea and combining it together into a world where I, Kev, won the lottery. Would you believe it? In addition to setting up that wrestling promotion we talked about earlier in the week, I've also invested £100 million into the football team that I can see by looking out of my bathroom window, Deeping Rangers. At the moment, they play, they're in the 7th tier, I believe, at the moment, and they play on a pitch that has a little bit of a stand on there that covers maybe a third of the pitch around the halfway line on one side, but there's nothing on any of the other sides. It is just very much low level football. They got floodlights about 5 years ago and it was cause for celebration. But I've decided I'm going to buy that club. I'm going to invest £100 million of my newfound lottery winnings into the club. And I'm going to see how far I can take them. But I'm not going to see how far I can take them as the manager. I'm just the chairman. And we'll see where we end up. Hello and welcome to part 1 of Non-League to Legend, The Sugar Daddy, the spin-off to the main series where I, Kev, play the role of a sugar daddy. I don't know why we've got this screen open. That's not the screen I was aiming for, but it is because I'm not a manager in the game. So it doesn't automatically default to a manager screen. As I explained in the intro, I'm not going to be a manager in this save, at least not in the YouTube element of this save. This save potentially has 2 parts to it because I've set up my localist of local football teams, Deeping Rangers, who play in the 7th tier, whatever the RFL Premier Division Group 7 is. That's the league that they play in. But I've changed a few things around. If we have a look to see what I've changed around with the club. So the first thing that I've done is they've built a new ground called Lollujo Park. It's a 15,000 all-seater. Now this, I might have broken everything and this save might only last 2 seasons because I originally set this up for them to move into it next summer because you've got to have time to build it. We've got to have that realism. But they seem to be playing there already, but then still moving there next summer. So it might just all break when we get at the end of the 2nd season. But we've also built state-of-the-art youth academy, junior coaching. I've just set everything to 20 in the editor, which is the top one. So, you know, we've put everything up to tops. Interestingly, we're at the end of the 1st season now. I'll show you how we got on in a minute. The youth level was top as well, but that's actually been downgraded to 2 at the end of the 1st season, which is sad. So I've done all that to the ground. I've also given us £100 million in the bank, which some of that's frittered away because our estimated value is down to £97 million. And I've made myself the owner. As you can see, I'm there on the favoured personnel list. In the editor, and I can't show you this part because it doesn't let me click on me, which is a little bit of a shame. I've then made it so I'm the most interfering and ambitious chairman you would ever come across. So it has all these different boxes that I never even knew were in the editor where you can set it. Does the chairman decide what players to sign? Yeah, he does. Does the chairman pick the team? Yeah, why not? Have the chairman pick the team. The only thing the manager does is the coaching because Kev doesn't wear tracksuits. So I've given chairman version of me just top stats and everything. We don't want this save to go on forever. And put him in as chairman with all that money. Not changed anything else. I've not changed anything else about the league that we're in, about the players that were already at the club. I gave him £1 million transfer budget for the 1st season and £15,000 a week of wage budget because we didn't want to waste the whole £100 million initially. And also, I had to increase the reputation of the club to allow me to put all that money in. So the reputation of the club's gone up quite a lot. So they are a much bigger club than every other team at this level. That couldn't be helped. I did fiddle with it to try and make that work. And I've made us full-time. But other than that, other than all those gazillions of changes, I've not really done anything. And the way this save is going to work is we're just going to check in with Deeping Rangers once a season, see how they got on. This is the end of the 1st season. Rather successful year, unbeaten season, 44 wins and 2 draws from 46 games, 108 goal difference. If we go, can we go into that in a little more detail? I want to see what the goal scored was, because I imagine it's ridiculous. 134 points. Corinthian Casuals, to be fair, also getting above 100 points, and we didn't even get the top scorer. Corinthian blooming Casuals did. But we are unbeaten, so we've got a promotion in our first season, and if we have a look at the money that was spent to allow us to do that, it was very little. Now, we've brought in a lot of free transfer players. Because we're so far below league level, I'm not seeing any names that I recognise, not even from the early days of proper non-league to legend this year when we were trying to scout these young folk. But you can see the kind of players, the kind of clubs we're signing them from. I mean, we've paid money to Fleetwood for this guy, Jack Sowerby, 22-year-old striker, who we're paying £10,000 a week on a 3-year contract in Tier 7. He's only worth 100. I mean, he is just a money-grabbing scumbag. But he's come in from Fleetwood, where he played 8 games in League One last year. We paid £27,000 for him. He's not exactly setting the world alight. I guess we're not playing him up front. He must be playing as a winger or attacking midfield player, because he's got 6 assists and a 7.75, but only got 3 goals from 11 games, and that's not going to get you a 7.75 as a striker. So that's the kind of calibre of transfer we're able to do, although we haven't done it very much. We brought in Chris Dawson from Rotherham as well, who, similar basis, £10,000 a week for him as well. And he's played a couple of games for Leeds in the Championship in his past, but has now decided to commit himself to the cause of Deeping Rangers. But they're the main big names, if you like, who've come in, promising youngsters from higher up in the pyramid. And we've let a whole load of players go who were never going to be part of the new world order here at Deeping Rangers. But I think, considering I gave us £1 million transfer budget, that the manager's been quite conservative with that. Although, what I imagine he's done, if we look at some of these wages, he's just converted it all to wage budget, because it's only £15,000 a week wage budget. I mean, actually, though, all of these free transfers are on... I mean, you wouldn't say normal money for the 7th tier. They're still being paid far too much. But it's look at that, £10,000 a week for him as well. Who, I mean, how has he managed? Oh, he came in at the end of the season. Okay, so he's come in from the USA to earn crazy money. But we've taken him. Which one was he? Dante Leverock. He's been playing in Tier 6 for Ilkeston. And then somehow we've needed to give him £10,000 a week to get him to drop down for the last 10 games of the season, because Deeping were obviously already promoted by then. So he's just moved across to a much higher potential, a much better reputation club at the same level, and has somehow convinced us to give him £10,000 a week to do it. That's mad. Is there any other stupid transfer? I don't think that, I mean, the rest of them are fairly normal. But what we're going to do from here, these aren't going to be really long episodes. It's not going to be a daily thing. But we're going to check in maybe once a week. We'll do a video, maybe a couple of times a week. We'll check in, just do a full season review, see if Deeping are continuing to climb up the pyramid, seeing if there's any crazy transfer business going on, see if the money's run out. And my plan for it is... at some point, I don't think £100 million, even at Tier 7, £100 million isn't going to be enough to take this team all the way through to the Premier League without a manager involved. There's going to be stupid stuff that happens at some point, not least of which the chairman, and I've put him down with 20 out of 20 for loyalty and that he loves the club, he could just decide to do one, and I've got no way of controlling that at all. I don't have an in-game editor. It's not allowed in the save, because I do want to play in this save at some point, so I can't edit a new sugar daddy back in if this one decides to move on. But my plan for it is, once we get to the point where Deeping Rangers get to such a level that they start to stutter, so maybe they spend 2 or 3 seasons in the same division. I really hope it's not in Tier 6 or my plan won't really work. But say they get to, I don't know, League 1, League 2, they're a mid-table team there, 2 or 3 years. It looks like, okay, the meteoric rise has stopped. That's the point where Kev version 2 sweeps in, becomes manager, and takes this save over to Twitch. And this becomes the Twitch save when we're back on Twitch in July, taking Deeping Rangers from wherever they get to on their own the rest of the way. That's the plan. So, we're unbeaten at the moment. 46 games unbeaten in Tier 7. We move up into Tier 6 and we'll see if we spend any money going forward from there. So, like I say, something very different. I don't know how I feel about it all. It's a little bit of an odd one. I've never even considered doing a series where I'm not the manager before. And it's not really an experiment because I plan to play in it eventually. Let me know down in the comments what you think. It might just be a silly idea that never gets any further than this, but I think it's got the potential to be quite an interesting one for the remainder of Football Manager 17. And I really hope it turns into something really cool over on the streams on Twitch. So if you are excited about the prospect of the future of Deeping Rangers, please pop a like on there for this episode. Subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see more. Check out the main non-Lethal Legend save if you haven't ever seen that one, although how you found this one first, I have no idea. And thank you very much for watching.